Hello friend, welcome back to my kitchen. We've got some projects we need to tackle today. If you were with me yesterday, we started processing just some of the onions I grew in my garden from this growing season. And these are just some of the onions I am processing. They're the ones that bolted, so they're not going to store fresh in my pantry for any length of time. And I've got some projects I want to do with these onions. I have 5 quarts of sliced onions, and I thought this pan was going to be big enough, and it's not. We're going to start with the project that's going to take the longest. This morning, I spent, let's see if I can find my big Dutch oven, because we're going to caramelize these 5 quarts of onions. If you've never frozen caramelized onions, it's one of my favorite time-saving hacks. Caramelized onions add such an incredible depth of flavor to dishes, and it takes a good hour and 15 minutes to do, especially this quantity. But I have found it's one of my favorite ways to put up onions from the garden that aren't going to stay fresh. They're still perfectly good to eat. They just need to be turned into something. And we're going to start with this because it's going to take a good hour and a half, I think, to caramelize all these onions. I did the dirty work yesterday of washing and peeling all these onions. So this morning I spent cleaning the kitchen, cleaning the floors, cleaning the dishes. I have all these dishes that I washed by hand this morning that I haven't put away because we might use them. So I figured I didn't want to put them away till we would use them. My dishwasher's empty, so I can load dishes as we go. I cleaned my floors and I just spilled a bunch of onions on them, but that's how it goes. We are also, while this is cooking down, we're going to do some meal prep. We're going to make dinner for tonight, but I'm going to make enough to freeze. Last time we did I think 2 times ago, we did a huge big freezer cooking day. I made a new recipe to me. I made Philly cheesesteak sloppy joes, and it was one of the best things I have made for the freezer. Just a nice high protein item. I usually serve over cauliflower rice. So we're gonna make high protein sloppy joes, but we're gonna make enough for dinner tonight, plus some that I'm gonna throw in the freezer for me for later, because I also processed a ton of the bell peppers from the garden, and I figured instead of just freezing those, let's turn them into something we can eat tonight and in the future. I'm trying to keep my blood sugar down, and so my family is going to actually have this over rice because I have rice that needs to be eaten up in the fridge, and I'm going to have it over green beans, I think, or cauliflower rice because it was delicious that way, but I have green beans in my fridge from the garden that need to be eaten as well. So in here, I've got 1 quart of bell peppers from the garden that I chopped up yesterday. And I have 1.5 quarts of diced onions that I diced yesterday. So that's going to take a while to cook down too. Let's get some salt on both of these. So what I was saying is that caramelized onions are delicious, but they take forever. And so sometimes on a night when I'm just tired, I don't want to make caramelized onions, I wouldn't take the time to do it. But if you have them frozen in the freezer, they thaw in minutes and they're delicious. And so it's just a really nice way to use up the onions and be able to enjoy caramelized onions on a Wednesday night when you normally wouldn't take the time to caramelize onions. So now I'm gonna get these washed up, and we're also gonna do some breakfast prep. I have 0 pancakes, waffles, anything like that. I don't have breakfast sandwiches in my freezer. I don't have time to do all those things, but we used the last 2 pancakes this morning. Pancakes and waffles are our favorite, easy go-to breakfast, and I don't usually want to make them in the morning. So if I have projects like this on the stove, I can get, well, I don't think we're gonna do pancakes today. We might do pancakes and waffles. We're for sure gonna do waffles because we haven't had waffles in a while. Pancakes and waffles are our favorite. but it's just nice to have in the freezer because I can heat them up in a matter of seconds in the microwave. And if we want a protein, I usually keep pre-cooked sausage in my freezer too, or bacon, and I always have eggs that we can cook up. Get every last onion in there. So that's the next thing we're gonna do, is we're gonna get started on some waffles. I have ground beef thawed, but I'm not gonna pull that out until we need it. It's in my fridge. Man, I didn't do a very good job emptying these. Wash my hands so they don't taste like onions when we make the waffles. This is an 8-quart stock pot, and you can see how full it is. This is gonna cook down to almost nothing. I have 3 zucchinis that need to be used up and blueberries that I would like to use. And I was wondering, what's the difference between a waffle and a pancake batter? Could I just make one batter and use it for both? I was looking in my fresh milled cookbook, which is my favorite fresh milled cookbook, and the ratios seem to be pretty similar. I mean, they are a little bit different, but pretty similar. So let's ask the internet. Pancake batter and waffle batter are very similar ingredients, but they differ in ratios and textures, which gives the waffles their crispiness and pancakes their fluffiness. Pancake batter is typically thinner, less fat, less sugar, typically yield a soft, tender pancake. Waffle batter is typically thicker, more fat, more sugar, and designed to hold its shape. Well, one thing I know is that whenever I make pancakes, almost any recipe, I always add more flour because I actually like my pancakes to sit up a little bit thicker. So here we go. Here's a versatile from scratch batter recipe using fresh milk. It's supposed to be fresh flour and fresh flour that perfectly balances and works well for both waffles and pancakes. The trick is to land in the sweet spot. Enough fat and sugar for a crispy waffle, but still soft and fluffy enough for a pancake. Ingredients: makes 6 to 8 pancakes. Okay, we're gonna try this. And I'm gonna ask it to, can you quadruple that recipe for me, please? I've never done this before. We're using the internet to come up with a recipe. Will this recipe work for fresh milled flour? Yes, this recipe can work for fresh milled flour, but you'll wanna make a few adjustments. Okay. We're gonna go with this then. And if this works, I will write up this recipe for you. If it doesn't work, you and I will see, and we're gonna make a huge batch, and we're gonna add zucchini, and we're gonna add blueberries to it. Okay. Here we go. First thing we're gonna do, freshly mill the wheat. This does not say what type of wheat to use. I'm gonna use soft white wheat because that's what most recipes call for. So this is gonna be fun. We're just making recipes up together as we go. So we've got our flour, and I was reading through the notes, and one of the suggestions was to add buttermilk. I happen to have buttermilk that needs to be used up. It said either use buttermilk to increase the flavor or add a little bit of lemon juice or vinegar to help tenderize the batter and give a good lift, just like what buttermilk will do. So since I have buttermilk that needs to be used, we're gonna use that. I'm putting those over there for a couple reasons. I wanna be able to make my pancakes here, and I need room over here. I put my onions were caramelizing back here because it needed a smaller burner. And then our sloppy joe mix is here. I want this to cook quite a bit. We need 2.5 cups of zucchini, and whatever extra zucchini I have, I'm gonna add into sloppy joes. I added shredded zucchini yesterday into taco soup. No one knew there was tacos, no one knew there was zucchini in the taco soup, and it was delicious. So I think if I add a little bit of shredded zucchini to my sloppy joes, no one will know, and it's just gonna add a little bit of nutrients and use up that zucchini. So here, I've got my flour, and I need to measure this out into another bowl. I don't know where my other big bowl went. Where is it? I need to buy myself another set of big bowls for in the kitchen. This will work. The bowl I'm looking for normally doesn't leave the kitchen, so I'm not sure where maybe is it in the dishwasher maybe? We'll make our pancake batter in here, and we can measure out our flour from here. This is my last towel. I might have spent yesterday all day in the kitchen. I'm gonna spend most of today in the kitchen, but where I have not spent any time is in the laundry room. Don't look in my laundry room, it's a disaster right now. None of us can do everything, and right now I'm trying to manage this produce coming out of the garden, so it takes priority over the laundry. But I do have all my dish towels in the dryer, and I need to get those out pretty shortly. So I just added my butter. Now I'm gonna add to this, hopefully we can get all of this to fit. I think we can. I did a bunch of computer work this morning. We had family time this morning, and so that's why the laundry has not been touched. I guess I've started a load of laundry, but I haven't folded or rotated anything, really. Now we need 8 eggs. And do 1 cup of buttermilk. 4.5 cups of regular milk. And a half. I probably should have mixed those eggs up, because it's going to be harder to mix them up now that I have added all that milk. Oh, I didn't think that adding that cold milk would make my butter harden up. Now we're going to add our flour, and we need 6 cups. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We might need more flour, and we might need more milk. We're gonna let this mix together, and then we're gonna let it sit for a good 15 minutes or so before we start making any waffles or pancakes. I'm actually gonna add my 2.5 cups of zucchini. Don't want to forget the salt. And a 1/4 cup of sugar. Oh, I almost forgot the baking powder. We're going to add 4 tablespoons. This feels way too runny to me, so I'm going to add another cup of flour. And then I'm going to let it sit. I was gonna chop up that zucchini a little bit more before I added it in here, and I forgot. So I'm gonna take my immersion blender and finish mixing this with the immersion blender. Well, I don't think I trust that recipe because even after sitting for a good bit, this is way too runny, I know, for a pancake batter that I'm gonna wanna cook. So I'm gonna add 1, 2, let's start with 2 more cups of flour. I'm gonna use my immersion blender again. We're pushing the limits of this bowl. Oh man. I think whatever we make is gonna be delicious. We're just on a journey to get there. What I should have done, instead of asking the internet to write me a brand new recipe, I should have just Googled, because I wasn't Googling it. I should have just Googled for one. Okay, this is looking a little better. I think it still needs 1 more cup of flour though. 8 eggs seem like a lot of eggs too, which I'm fine with because that just adds more protein. This is looking better. I turned my peppers and onions off because they are ready for the beef. And while I was messing with this batter, I didn't want my peppers and onions and zucchini to burn. Yeah, this looks a lot better. I think I'm gonna go with this. We'll do some test pancakes here in a minute after this soaks for a good 10 minutes. If you didn't want your family members to know you added zucchini to this, my family doesn't care if I add zucchini to things, then peel your zucchini and it would take the green away and then no one would know there's zucchini in it. You could add cinnamon to this, nutmeg, all sorts of things. I think I'm just gonna keep it vanilla. 1 more little splash. We're gonna call that good because we're gonna add blueberries to quite a bit of it. So I don't really want blueberry and cinnamon together. Okay, I'm gonna wipe the counter up because it's a disaster and we're gonna let this sit here. I added a 1/2 more cup flour to our batter because I still just did not think it was quite thick enough. So I think we're now at the perfect consistency. So I need to go run out and grab the beef because our peppers and onions, I turned them back on and they are ready for the beef. And I might as well grab my green beans that we're gonna cook with tonight's dinner as well, that we harvested together yesterday, and some cheese, because I know I have cheese out there. I was gonna serve this over rice, because I didn't think I had any buns, and I wasn't about to make buns today. And I found a package of sourdough buns in the freezer. I've also got, that I'm gonna let thaw, I've got some Munster cheese and a bunch of green beans. So that's gonna be part of tonight's dinner. I had this thought, well, I don't know. I was thinking I might cook the green beans up a little different than I normally do. But oh my goodness, okay. These peppers and onions, I need to turn it off. I'm just about to burn it. That would be sad. I have 4 pounds of ground beef here. I think I'm gonna go ahead and take out these peppers and onions, and I'm gonna cook up the ground beef and zucchini. And I'm gonna cook up the ground beef just in a little bit of oil on this pot. Some of that looks a little bit too brown. It's probably okay. But I think what I'm gonna do, so if you ever almost burn something and you're able to catch it in time, you can save it, remove it, which I was gonna do anyway. These are some brioche buns. There's some slow fermented brioche buns. I've been ordering from a online sourdough bread company. I've gotten 2 boxes from them, And I'm trying them out, and I'm really excited about it. Okay. We have really clean ingredients. You all know I like to bake my own bread, but I also don't mind buying bread too. We're gonna heat this back up, and I'm just gonna pour some water in this. Right there, it's looking a little bit dark, so I am gonna deglaze this pan. It's probably okay. Because I'm putting 4 pounds of ground beef in this, I don't want that to taste burnt. So all you have to do is heat up some water. That will deglaze the pan. I'll rinse this out once I've gotten it all up, and then we can start fresh. Now we can start fresh. A little oil down. I'm going to season this ground beef, some pepper. We haven't added any garlic yet. My dog just found his toy on the ground. I don't know if you can hear him. And then I've got some garlic scape salt. Basically just like a homemade garlic salt. And I'm going to add some paprika to this. I'm completely out of my homemade seasoned salt right now, so I'm just going to add most of those ingredients. And I'm out of onion powder up here. I would add onion powder for this, but I'm out of it. I have my griddle pan preheating, and I have my waffle maker preheating. This is the consistency of the batter. I have about 1 more cup of flour I can add if I need to, but this looks pretty good to me. So we're gonna start making some pancakes on the griddle and some waffles in the waffle maker. I don't know, this feels a little bit runny to me still, but we'll start with this. It's usually 1.5 of these scoops that fills this waffle maker up really well. This is my favorite size waffle to reheat. Maybe overfilled those just a little bit. Time will tell. Set that back. This is going to be our test run. If we need to adjust, we can. But I think this is going to be too runny for pancakes. Or for how we like our pancakes, yeah. I'm going to add more flour. I can already tell. Well, let's just do a whole pan and we'll see. They might puff up a ton. Nope. I want more flour in these. I only have a 1/2 cup more. I might grind a little bit more to add another whole cup. Yeah, I'm going to grind a whole nother cup. Ooh, there's sticking a little bit. Okay, those look like a pretty pancake. I added 2 more cups total. I'm not sure how many cups we're at this point, but I will be counting them as we go. I will have the final total. Ooh, those waffles look really good though. Oh, I turned it way up. Why did I do that? I usually cook my pancakes on the all the way low setting. That's why this one got a little dark, because I turned it up to medium. Well, maybe that was a good consistency. I don't know. I usually like a heartier pancake batter, especially if I'm going to add blueberries, so that they're not quite so thin. Okay, I think my pancakes are done. My waffles are done. I need to stir my caramelized onions. And let's get out a cooling rack. Let's give these a taste test. Hopefully they taste good. That's really the most important thing. I'm gonna taste the waffle first. Super light. I don't know if you can hear that crunch. Nice and crunchy. Pancake's delicious. I think it needs another good splash of vanilla, and I think it can use a little more salt. I think I only put about 1.5 teaspoons, and this is obviously a huge bowl of batter, so it could probably use another teaspoon. I like this consistency. That was probably the perfect consistency for the waffles, but I like a little bit thicker pancake, so we had to adjust. I like the look of these pancakes better. They're standing up a little bit more. That looks perfect. I could probably go for another minute or so. So I've got my little station here. I'm just going to be making waffles and pancakes, while I keep a close eye on my caramelized onions. You can already see how much they've cooked down. And my ground beef, sloppy joes. I could turn this into traditional sloppy joes with ketchup and things, but I really, really liked the Philly cheesesteak kind of take on it, and there's a little less sugar in that for me, so that is what I'm looking for. So this is gonna be delicious. This is obviously way more than we'll have for dinner tonight because I'm gonna make green beans too, but the rest of it, once I have it done, I will package it up and I will just freeze this. And I would even eat this over cauliflower rice for breakfast. Delicious. I don't know why I've never thought of a 1-for-2 batter or 2-for-1 batter when it comes to pancakes and waffles. That is going to be so much easier if this ends up working really well and we're super happy with it. Just having one batter and being able to make both. We're going to finish off our sloppy joes here. Probably should have used my big cast iron, but this is the pot I used. I can get this right back into the dishwasher. And now I'm gonna add some garlic, and I'm not sure why I added more batter to those blueberry pancakes. I don't think I needed to do that, but I did it. I've got 2 garlic pucks here we're gonna add to this. Oh, that Worcestershire sauce, as soon as it hit that beef, that's my favorite combination. Beef and Worcestershire. I'm gonna add a little bit more. So good. Oh, that's the rest of my bottle. That should be enough. I think our pancakes are ready to be turned. Get my garlic back in the freezer. I was so confused on what was bubbling and making that popping noise. It's the blueberries. I don't know why that was so confusing to me. I'm gonna put my lid on my sloppy joes here in just a minute because they are almost done. I'm basically just waiting for the garlic to cook, get it all stirred in, taste it, and then we will top buns. I'll make green beans. I'm gonna top this on green beans, I think, for dinner tonight for myself. I will toast up those buns that I have, and we'll put this sloppy joe mix on top, and we'll put cheese on top and melt it in the broiler, so it'll just be nice and broiled and delicious. But I think it's time to give this a taste test. Those blueberry pancakes smell really good. I don't know why that combination to me is so incredibly delicious. It's really simple ingredients: onions, peppers, Worcestershire salt, pepper, garlic powder, and zucchini. I probably could have added twice that amount of zucchini. You don't even know, you can't even tell that there's zucchini in it. These are huge compared to what I'm used to making. But they're not quite done yet. They're taking about twice as long to cook because they're twice as big. These ones back here are done. I'm eating one, or the parts, the extra parts on the edges. I think I like this texture with more flour in it better. That's perfect. And these waffles look great. They look crispy and crunchy. So good. I'm super happy with this. Now the next thing I need to do is get a waffle maker that has 4 instead of just 2, so I could make these twice as fast. When I bought this waffle maker, I love this waffle maker. I love the size of waffles. They're basically like Eggo waffle size. What I don't like about it is there's only 2. I didn't realize when I bought it that they make ones with 4. I just haven't bought myself it yet. I probably should, because especially if I'm doing something like this where I can get 8 pancakes and I could get 4 waffles at one time, that would be much more efficient. I'm making these now, not as big as the last ones, but 1.5 scoops. I feel like if I'm adding blueberries, they need to be just a little bit bigger than 1 scoop. And this time, I'm not going to add any more batter to the top. I'm just going to do blueberries. So these blueberries are obviously putting quite a bit of sugars from the blueberries on my pan, which I think could potentially make for a sticky situation. So I'm going to add a little bit of butter just to help prevent things from sticking too much. You don't have to add butter typically to this pan if you don't add blueberries. I think I'm going to do a couple more without blueberries so that I have options. I don't know if blueberries are, I don't know if blueberries are always going to be wanted. Josh just came down and he said it smells good and looks good. So he's gonna try one of the pancakes. Okay. So I had ChatGPT make up a recipe for me.
Interesting.
Yeah. So you have to tell me what you think. I actually had to adapt the recipe because it was way too thin. So I added, I'll count it up, but I think I added like 4 more cups of flour than the recipe called for. But you can try it.
4 more cups?
Yeah, a lot. So those are our blueberries. Is it good? And there's zucchini in it. Can you taste the zucchini? I didn't add any like cinnamon or anything, so I think it'll almost be like a...
I can't taste it, but I can tell the texture is like, it's got more chewiness to it.
Okay.
Which I think is probably the zucchini.
Will go over well?
Yeah, it's really good.
Awesome.
I think the perfect amount of flour.
Perfect amount of flour. You're welcome. So I'm gonna get some green beans cooked up. We have so many green beans. My goal was to grow just enough green beans to eat fresh, but I am well beyond that point, I think. So I've been gifting green beans. I don't know, maybe I'll freeze some. But I have lots of friends and family that have no problem enjoying the abundance of the garden. I'm gonna cut both ends off. These are beautiful green beans. The variety of green bean is called jade green bean. I'm sure you've heard me say that if you've been around here for any length of time. It's my favorite variety. They're just these like long, slender green bean, kind of like a French green bean that you get at the store. Absolutely delicious. We're just gonna make some simple garlic green beans, and they'll be delicious while I cook the pancakes. Now those pancakes are not as pretty because they have a little bit of the blueberry stain on them, but they're gonna taste just as delicious. I did make, not that long ago, a bunch of mini muffins, and those are going over very well. But pancakes and waffles are preferred, even as a snack, just warmed up. So the fact that I ran out this morning, it was like, I gotta get those back in my freezer. And if I can, I like to have multiple projects going at once so that I am efficient in the kitchen, as efficient as I can be, because those caramelized onions still are only halfway done. We have our main dish completely done. I'm just working on a side, but I can, cook pancakes, cook waffles while I am prepping dinner tonight, which I'm always happy about. For some reason, that side of the waffle maker cooked faster. Woo! Almost lost that one. One of my favorite things is caramelized onions and mac and cheese. I think it was Friendsgiving. I made caramelized onion mac and cheese. Incredible. But I really just like caramelized onions on almost anything. Hamburgers. What else do I like caramelized onions on? Pasta. There's a dish I like to make where I take cherry tomatoes from the garden, because I usually freeze a ton of cherry tomatoes. And then I put a couple pucks of garlic. I put it in a 9x13 dish. I put Boursin cheese or feta cheese or cream cheese in the 9x13. Then I add frozen cherry tomatoes from the garden. Then I add some caramelized onions. If I don't have caramelized onions, I'll just dice onions, but the caramelized onions are delicious. That's another really good way to use them up. That's an easy meal with so much flavor that is so easy. It's kind of like one of those cheat meals. And then I just cook up some pasta. I bake that. I don't bake the pasta. I'm tired. I don't know if you can tell. So I bake the tomatoes and cheese in the oven at like 400 for a half an hour, 40 minutes. And then I cook up pasta and I add that to the sauce. And it's delicious. These are going to be big pancakes. Pancakes and waffles are officially done. That's a lot of pancakes. That's a lot of waffles. Super excited about that. Really, really happy. I usually serve them, like I said, with fruit, eggs, sausage, bacon. Sometimes we just have those as a snack, make life easy. So what I'm doing is I took the lid off the Sloppy Joes because I want to package this up and freeze, but I don't want it hot going into my packaging. I think I'm just going to put it in a freezer bag, lay it flat, and that way when it's frozen it'll be thin. I can just break parts of it off and warm it up. That will be perfect. Like I said, this was one of the best things that I think I made from I think it was 2 times ago, where I did a huge freezer cooking meal. I want to do that soon. I think I have one thing of, that spoon is going to fall. I think I have one marinated chicken left in my freezer. We've gone through most of that because with garden produce coming in, I'll just grill some chicken, cook up some green beans, and that's dinner. I think I have one enchilada in my freezer, and I have a couple hamburgers left, and that's it. But I just haven't had time. This is a hard time for me to be able to set aside a day and a half. It takes longer than that. Not the actual cooking. I always get the cooking done in one day, but the planning, the shopping, mostly the planning. The planning takes a lot of mental energy, and I just haven't had that with making sure I'm using up this produce. Either we're eating it, I'm putting it up for later use, or I'm making sure it's gifted to people so none of it goes to waste. Some of it does end up going to the chickens, but that's just the nature of having a garden. You can't save every single thing. So I've got my dishwasher going. I need to go do laundry. Dinner is basically prepped. I've got my green beans here. I'm gonna let those pancakes and waffles cool completely. I have a freezer bag. This had my pancakes in it that I used up this morning. So I'm gonna package up some of those in here. I think I'm gonna package them up plain waffles, plain pancakes in here because that's easy to tell apart. And then the blueberry ones I'll probably put in a different freezer bag because I know I'll need at least 2 freezer bags. But I'll just reuse this freezer bag because all it had in it was zucchini pancakes. But these were ones that were flavored with cinnamon and nutmeg and stuff like that. So I can just set this out. I have no towels right now. Or I would wash those things by hand, but I don't have any towel to put down, so I can't do that. So what I think I'm gonna do is go change, and I'm gonna go work on laundry. I've got so much laundry to do. I don't mind doing laundry, especially now that I have that big table. It actually is quite enjoyable for me. I just put my headphones in and do laundry, but it is one of those chores that's never done. Because I did do laundry this weekend. It's Wednesday today. No, it's Tuesday. How did I do laundry on Saturday? I think it was Saturday, maybe it was Friday. I don't remember now. And now I have a whole laundry room full of it. So that's what I'm gonna do because I have no towels. I need to sweep and mop. It feels really good though to get, oh, I didn't even show you. I turned it off, but I didn't show you yet. So here's our caramelized onions. I need these to cool completely too before I package them up. So I just turned the stove off. It was all the way up here and now it's down here. I don't know how much that will be by the time we end up packaging it up. I think what I did last time I did this is I did about 1/3 of a cup or 1/4 of a cup in a little tiny freezer bag and froze it that way. I'll show you what that looks like when I get to it. I've got chicken scraps here that need to go to the chickens, more dogs that want to go out. So what I'm gonna do, that needs to get put away. I used that yesterday. I cleaned it this morning, so that's why it's still sitting out. It didn't get wiped down yesterday. I've got a ton of tomatoes that I need to wash and freeze. I don't know if you can see that. Maybe we'll have just some sliced tomatoes to go along with tonight's dinner, or I'll saute them up with the green beans. But it is only 4:03. I'm not really hungry yet because I had probably the equivalent of 2 pancakes or 2 waffles. And so we'll probably eat, I don't know, I guess I'll ask Josh when he's hungry, but he just ate a pancake too. And they're pretty filling. The thing about the fresh milled flour is there's a lot more fiber in it and they just are pretty filling and satisfying. So they keep you full for quite some time. So we'll probably end up eating, I don't know, when we get hungry. That's when we're gonna eat. So I will show you what it looks like when I package up these pancakes and waffles once they cool. I will show you what the sloppy joes look like. I will show you what dinner looks like coming together because we have those hamburger buns. I think that's going to be a big hit for my family, and I know I will enjoy the caramelized onions this coming fall and winter. So I'll see you back probably in some comfy clothes after I go sit and do some laundry. Before I go and do some other chores, I remembered that I had some peppers in the dehydrator, and I wanted to get this done because that felt like I had completed another thing, and so it just felt productive. So this is some serrano peppers I dehydrated, and I'm gonna soak them in oil, and it's kind of like a crunchy, super spicy condiment that is delicious. And I just wanna say how grateful I am for this meal prep day. I probably won't use ChatGPT to make up recipes again. Well, maybe I will, I don't know. It was kind of a fun experiment. Did it work out? Yes, it worked out. Those pancakes and waffles we have been enjoying, and they have been a huge, huge lifesaver. Those are definitely a family favorite of mine. I don't do really any breakfast cooking when I have all this meal prep done. All I have to do is basically reheat if you watched, we did a really big high protein breakfast meal prep, and then I did these pancakes and waffles. And so breakfast is not a stressful time for me because I have all of this stuff in my freezer and we can just pull it out and everyone can have what they want. No one has to have the same thing. I don't create a mess in the mornings. I do create a big mess when I do these big meal prep days, but then I can clean it up and we don't have to really worry about what's for breakfast or what are we cooking. We can just go list off what I have in the freezer, and then we can decide and have a really yummy homemade breakfast, which is really, really nice. Breakfast has never been like a meal that has been my favorite, but now that my family is growing, we definitely are really enjoying breakfast time. It's become one of my favorite times of the day to sit and relax and have a cup of coffee as a family, and we enjoy a good breakfast that I didn't have to cook on that day, which has been a really, really nice lifesaver. Now, also, this Sloppy Joe mix has been a huge lifesaver for me. Since I've been pregnant, I've been really trying to keep my blood sugar levels down, and I can go more into that when I do a pregnancy update. But this is actually for Josh. I'm making up Josh's dinner on this night, and I end up eating the Sloppy Joe mix on, I either cook up green beans and I top the Sloppy Joe mix on green beans. I either heat up some cauliflower rice and top this Sloppy Joe mix on cauliflower rice. But the way I'm serving Josh's is I have 2 brioche buns that I kind of took a little bit of the center part of the bun out so that the meat would stick in the bun a little bit better. And then I'm topping it with some Munster cheese, and I throw that under the broiler. And then the rest of the Sloppy Joe mix that I don't end up eating on this night for dinner, I end up putting in the freezer. And this has been really nice because I can just take out an individual serving of it, and I can have it for lunch or breakfast or whatever it might be with a vegetable. Another vegetable I have just been starting to use from the freezer a lot is chopped up broccoli. I bought broccoli for a recipe you're going to see in the coming week or so, where I make a fall broccoli, cheese, and chicken casserole, and it is so good. But I don't think I'd ever bought in frozen chopped broccoli before, and I've been using that just like I would cauliflower rice, and it's been really, really delicious, an easy way to get some veggies, and especially if I have some protein prepped in the freezer, a really easy lunch that I can then top with some fresh cherry tomatoes from the garden or whatever it might be. Now, this is by far probably one of my favorite things that I put up from the garden, are caramelized onions. I think I end up getting 5 bags of these. Caramelized onions are so good, but they are a huge, huge labor of love. And there's something so incredibly nice about if we have burgers one night or we have macaroni and cheese. If you've never had French onion macaroni and cheese, it is one of the best things ever. Also, I really like a French onion pot roast recipe that I have, and I was thinking that recipe usually takes a bit of prep work because you have to caramelize like 10 onions. I could just pull 2 of these bags out, throw these bags of onions in the slow cooker with a pot roast and a little bit of beef broth, and I could make that dish in a matter of minutes as opposed to taking a good 45 minutes in the morning to prep that dish. And here we go. Those are going in the freezer. Here is Josh's dinner coming out of the oven, and this is so delicious. I want to thank you, friend, for being in the kitchen with me as we did all of this meal prep and putting up the garden harvest for winter. If you enjoyed this, let me pop a couple more videos here. You can go enjoy between now and my next upload. I greatly appreciate you, and I'm grateful you're here. I hope you're having a great day, and I can't wait to see you next time. Bye, friend.